Internal Revenue Service is now accepting tax returns. But on the first day of being able to submit those returns, the agency warns that this tax season will be especially frustrating for many taxpayers. Refunds will be delayed and some calls to helplines may go unanswered. In a report to Congress, the National Taxpayer Advocate said the IRS is, quote, in crisis. Spectrum's Washington Bureau reporter Samantha-Jo tells us why.
Union President Tony Reardon says this tax season will be as stressful for the IRS workers he represents as it will be for taxpayers.
They're not able to answer all the calls. They're not able to do all the things that they want to do to perform the services necessary for the American people.
In December, the IRS had a record 6 million unprocessed tax returns, a backlog partly blamed on pandemic office closures. This as new benefit programs increased the workload. Old technology and budget cuts are adding to the crisis. The IRS has 20% fewer workers than 10 years ago and the same number of staffers as 50 years ago when it had far fewer returns to audit.
You know, it's not a matter of if the IRS is going to, if the system is going to break, it's a matter of when. And I think we are now at a situation, we're starting to see that the system is starting to break.
Watchdog groups say the staffing cuts have led the IRS to focus on the simpler returns of low-income taxpayers and that the audits of high-income filers have declined. As part of his Build Back Better Act, President Joe Biden proposed spending $80 billion to double the number of IRS employees and boost enforcement, potentially increasing collections by $200 billion. The legislation has stalled in the Senate. Mark Everson led the IRS under Republican President George W. Bush.
I would add money for systems and for people. I wouldn't add as much as they're suggesting. They're suggesting doubling the size of the agency in terms of its workforce. I would like to see them add 3 to 5% a year in terms of real growth.
Experts say the best way to avoid the refund delays is to file early and to file electronically.
Be painstakingly thorough in getting your documentation together before you start to complete the return and make sure you've taken into account the different payments you've gotten from the government.
Reardon says the gap between the workload and resources at the IRS has never been greater. He wants lawmakers to provide new long-term funding.
There just aren't enough people to do the job. And so then all that work is left to fall onto the shoulders of the people who are there.
For Inside the Issues, I'm Samantha-Jo.